Call to order the Tuesday, September 23rd regular City Council meeting of the City of Troutdale. Sorry for the delay, but we're back up and running. And we'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. John, if you would lead us, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sarah, would you call the roll?
Okay. Councilor Andrews?
Here.
Councilor Allen?
She's excused for a short time. She has parent-teacher conferences.
Okay. Councilor One?
Present.
Councilor White?
Here.
Councilor Davidson?
Here.
Councilor Leamy?
Here.
And Mayor Whitman.
Here. All right. Mike, is there an agenda update?
No agenda update, Mayor.
Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, which is public comment. Public comment on non-agenda and consent agenda items is welcome at this time. Public comment on agenda items will be taken at the time the item is considered. Public comment should be directed to the presiding officer and limited to matters of community interest or related to matters which may or could come before council. Each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes for each agenda item unless a different amount of time is allowed by the presiding officer with consent of council. The council and mayor should avoid immediate or protracted responses to citizen comments. So I'll open the meeting to public comment. Does anyone on Zoom wish to address the city council?
Mayor Ribma, Paul Wilcox, Troutdale.
Sure, call.
Okay. I actually have 3 of the 4 consent agenda items to address. So I'll go to it. Guarantee it won't take 5 minutes each. Starting with 3.2. I don't know if it makes any difference or not considering where the signs are being proposed, but the trail segment between Northeast Harlow Road and Depot Park hasn't been officially designated as part of the Check Trail. As a matter of fact, on the county's precinct map, that segment is named Sandy River Greenway Trail. North and west of Harlow Road is named Check Trail, where the metro signs are proposed. One could question why the metro signs stop at Harlow Road. That county map has been updated to include Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park. The Parks Advisory Committee had apparently not settled on extending the Check Trail to Depot Park until their last meeting on September 7th. That covers that item. 3.3. I just have a question about dates in the documents. On pages 2 and 3 of the staff report, it states, quote, "The term of the new agreement is from January 1, 2024 to avoid any gap from the expiration of the prior agreement and extending forward 10 years to September 30, 2035. On page 3 of the agreement, under 2.2 duration, it states, quote, "The term of this franchise and all rights and obligations pertaining thereto shall be from October 1, 2025 through September 30, 2035, unless terminated sooner as provided herein." On a somewhat unrelated note, would this have been an opportunity to increase the franchise fee? And lastly, agenda item 3.4, the agenda description under item 3.4 regarding the D transfer mistakenly reads Southeast Harlow instead of Northeast Harlow. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, does anyone else on Zoom wish to address the council on, at this time, on either the non-agenda or consent agenda items? If not, how about it in the room? Does anyone wish to address the council during public comment on non-agenda or consent agenda items? So, and while he's coming up, I guess I should ask Ed, the resolution in 3.3 okay? It sounded okay, but
I am looking at that right now.
And the resolution in 3.4, I wasn't, check that one too. Hi, Sal, thank you.
Hello, good night. My name is Saul Pompeyo, and I'm the owner of Restaurante de Pompeyo. I want to make you understand, I really agree to, we pay a little bit extra, or we pay extra for the safety and the fire, because I know the budget is short, and we need to support more the city for have the service. Like for the last 14 years, I come and I ask, what is the methodology used for charge utility bills? And always they say, they don't know why they have that form, but this is how they apply. In this occasion, again, I ask why they use this utility charge, what is the reason they go to use this methodology? My question very clear is, and I want you guys answer me, why their bars pay 50% than the restaurant on this fee? In the safety, if you have a bar, you pay 50% than the restaurant. I want to know what is the methodology to use for charge less to the bars, to the restaurants. I really agree to pay extra, but my curious is why we pay more the restaurant than the bars. And hopefully, I hope so you guys give me the answer. Thank you.
There ought to be some explanation for that. Anyone else here in the council chambers wish to address the council under public comment? All right. Well, seeing no one, I'll close public comment. We move on to agenda item number 3, consent agenda. Yes.
I got a question on 3.2. Just a quick question, and I don't know how you want to do it.
Well, it's for public comment, we ought to pull it off the public, or excuse me, the consent agenda. We ought to pull it off the consent agenda if there's questions, and we'll put it at the end of the meeting. So 3.2 then is not included in the consent agenda. Any other comments? John, really, you're up for the consent agenda if you want to make a motion.
Okay, well, I have a question before I do. So do we
Okay.
need to make any changes to 3.3 and 3.4 before we, I mean, it looks like 3.4, we changed southeast to northeast, it's all right.
And that was just in the staff report.
Yes, that's just a
Type
staff
of
staff
report.
report.
You're all right to pass it.
Yeah.
Part of the consent agenda.
And then the language that Mr. Wilcox was saying was because it said that the start of the term of the contract was at the execution of the franchise agreement versus how it said in the staff report being backdated to January 2024, correct? So it's just this one section, 1.5, I believe, in the attached franchise agreement.
And it says the effective date is the date of adopting the franchise. So it doesn't actually revert back in time, and the staff report would be incorrect. The document actually controls. So Mr. Wilcox's comment would be right. There's an error in the staff report, but it's not being adopted. What's being adopted is the franchise agreement. So what has occurred between the expiration of the last one was it was extended by mutual agreement until the new franchise agreement's adopted. So the staff report just has an error in it.
So the resolution that's in 3.3 is correct.
Okay, then.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Okay. So I move that we accept consent agenda 3.1, minutes, August 26, 2025, City Council regular meeting. 3.3, a resolution granting a non-exclusive franchise to Portland General Electric Company. And 3.4, a resolution accepting a right-of-way deed for the Chuck Trail abutting Northeast Harlow Road from the Oregon Department of Transportation.
Second.
All right, Sarah?
Counselor Leamy,
Yes.
Counselor Andrews,
Yes.
Counselor One,
Yes.
Mayor Ritma,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
and Counselor Davidson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, 4.1, a resolution establishing solid waste collection fees and rescinding resolution 2603.
Good evening, Mayor Ripna and City Council members. My name is Ryan Largura, City Environmental Specialist, and I'll be presenting tonight when the slides are available. Hopefully, we have cooperation with technology. Making it safe, Sarah? Safe to, okay. All right. Here's what we're going to be covering tonight. The consultant's background that we used. Why is there a proposed rate increase for operations? Are there new service options? What are the adjusted rates? How do the rates compare to other cities? Other rate comparisons in general? Community feedback we've received, and discussion time. So the City of Troutdale used Chris Bell as our consultant. We've used Chris for previous rate reviews since I've been here and for many years before. He's worked with a variety of cities in the metro region, and I just thought I'd throw up, what is a rate review? A rate review is the examination of the financial results of operations to determine the cost of service. So every year, Waste Management submits a detailed cost report in March, and that summarizes the year before, calendar year before of whatever it may be. So this year, we've received it in March of 2025. It summarized operations in 2024, the costs. And so then we have an exclusive franchise agreement with Waste Management, and within that, they are allowed to have an operating margin of between 8 and 12%. Typically, 10% is kind of the sweet spot for them in terms of what we're aiming for, but it can go either way in that range. We've had, for this past year in 2024, the operating margin was 2.9% below the margin. The year prior in 2023, it was 3 point something, and I can't remember offhand, I wrote it, but now I don't see that part of the slide. So it was 2 years since we last did our rate review. And in those 2 years, it hasn't been within the operating margin. Last year, we did not do a rate review because we were undergoing the franchise agreement renewal, and it just didn't work out that was going to be possible to do the rate review at the same time. If I had it right. Is there a way to go somewhere I should be pointing this?
Here, I think.
Is it more there?
If it's not gonna work, I can go ahead, just go ahead, tell me.
Just push this arrow, you think? No?
It's not going on my computer.
Okay, that's good. So what are the contributing factors to this operating margin of 2.9%? Well, we have metro fees and taxes, we have recycling markets, and we have Waste Management's own costs. So let's dive a little deeper. Metro fees and taxes. So Metro has been, in the past several years, trying to catch up with what their actual costs of operation is for their own public transfer stations at Metro South, Metro Central. They contract out with Republic Services to do a lot of the labor, but they also obviously have their own labor that works at these transfer stations. And I'm not going to go into all of it because I'm not totally familiar with all the ins and outs. But needless to say, the cost of disposal for garbage in the region has increased from $137.30 in 2023 to $162.14 in now 2025. So that's about an increase of 18%. Of our Waste Management's requested $1.74, rate increase for, let's say, a 35-gallon cart for residential, it's about, according to Chris Bell, our consultant, it's about $1.56 could be attributed to these increases from Metro, and that's about 89% of the increase that Waste Management is requesting. So I did mention recycling disposal costs. So since 2018, the cost of disposal for recyclable materials has really plummeted in the US. Our main market of China, they said no thank you anymore in 2018. And then that also had the effect of, lower market demand for recycled materials like plastic because, hey, it's cheaper to maybe use virgin materials such as, from fossil fuels to make these plastics. There's also going to be inflation, rising costs of fuel, labor and equipment maintenance, all these things that go into the recycling industry of recycling materials, and all, along with the increased contamination of single stream recycling here in the US, which doesn't help with having a high value material being collected. So from Waste Management's perspective, these are from costs from the 2024 DCR. There's a number of general and administrative costs. There's a number of direct costs. So I don't want to maybe run through each line item here, but nonetheless, there is a number of costs that they have experienced, just like all other businesses with inflation and other investments and union contracts, so labor costs, repair and maintenance of aging fleet expenses. These that I've highlighted, I believe, if I'm remembering, are in excess of $10,000 increases from, I believe, 2023 to now, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm sorry, I don't have my note on it. But that's why I kind of pulled these out in particular. And that right there is where all of our garbage goes to, and I'm completely blanking. Why am I blanking? Please help me.
Arlington.
Arlington, thank you, goodness, that's a picture of Arlington, yep. Why propose additional service costs? Well, I annually receive phone calls from residents unhappy during wind events that, hey, my neighbor's garbage, recycling materials, whatever it may be, is in my yard. They overfill it, they don't buckle down the bungee cord, whatever the reason may be, we have wind, things get blown around on collection day. So I receive those calls. Waste management drivers also have been told to me to be not getting out of their truck to release the bungee, but use the automatic arm to shake the carts to release the bungee cords, and in the process either break the bungee cord or break the lid of the garbage can. And then obviously we have lids or bungee cords that are not always being repaired in maybe a timely manner. So that also leads to unsecured carts during windy days. That's everywhere. I've also received feedback. I believe the city received a letter from a resident not too long ago requesting we look into food waste recycling, and I've heard it at some of the First Friday events that I've attended in the past, folks coming up to me asking, hey, are we ever going to have food waste? So that was kind of my motivation to why we should explore maybe alternatives. It's taken a while only because we've had franchise agreements, we've had other things not having a rate review, so it's taken a while to finally get this proposal before City Council for you guys to decide. So food waste, that's looking like it'd be about 73 cents per month add-on. So maybe what's some benefits? All right, so that's diverting food waste from the landfill, right? So we're not going to Arlington anymore, we're going down the road instead to, I'm gonna blank on this one. Dirt huggers, thank you, not too far from Arlington. And so they would obviously be composting this food waste into a new product, right? Compost. So that means less methane, less leachate generated at the landfill. According to EPA's WARM, and I can't remember what WARM stands for, but their modeling, if you divert 63 tons approximately is what we have estimated, the consultant and Waste Management, that's about 29 pounds per customer per year, if I didn't say that. That diversion would equal roughly about 10 gasoline-powered vehicles off the road for 1 year, or the home electricity for almost 9 homes in 1 year. So, that's modeling, that's a lot of assumptions. These are things that we're estimating through EPA's tool. What is allowed in our food waste cart, or what would be, because this would be now going into your yard debris cart, it'd all be mixed, be a single stream of yard debris and food waste into the cart. So there's a number of items. There's meat, there's poultry, fish, shellfish, cheese, dairy, bread, all the things that you can see here. And on top of it, you can add paper coffee filters, paper tea bags, food soiled paper, and food soiled pizza boxes. What are the drawbacks? Well, it's gonna cost some, right? 73 cents is what our consultant has estimated. So that's a monthly cost. That's not a one-time cost, that's monthly. And that would amount to maybe the diversion is not worth it. Maybe you're not gonna really generate that much food waste in your home, so why would I wanna pay for something I'm not gonna really use? Also, maybe you're already composting at home, so why would I wanna pay something again for maybe something I'm not gonna use? This would also divert yard debris from our local business, Allwood Recyclers. So this material would no longer be going to Allwood because it would not be 100% yard debris. It would be mixed stream, so it'd have food waste. Food waste in that regard for residential food waste would then, like I said, be going to dirt huggers. So that would mean no more Allwood receiving our yard debris only. So that has a financial impact on a local business here. There is the potential for pests. I have spoken with cities such as Beaverton. They have not reported to me any pests in the residential food waste carts that they've received complaints on. But just, I know for businesses, it can lead to some pests. Obviously, there's differences there because we're mixing ours with yard debris. Theirs is strictly food waste in their cart. So a little bit different mix there in the cart. All right, now let's look at latching roll carts. This is a picture, I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna have some dropped off today because we've had these at our building for a number of months. And of course, I didn't get them delivered tonight in person. But as you can see, on the left is the 35-gallon roll cart for residents, and that has a handle on top that turns, so you have to line it up to lock it and then turn it clockwise, so it's horizontal to unlatch it and then lift your cart. The one on the right is a 60-gallon, and that's automatic. So if you could see right below the lid in the front, you have to squeeze that in order to release the lid in order to empty your recyclables or your garbage if that's what is chosen. So the 20, we do have a 20-gallon that's not shown, and the 35-gallon would both have that locking mechanism on top. So it still relies on users locking it, right? Just like a bungee, you still gotta make sure you lock it, otherwise it won't do any good. The one on the right, like I said, is a 60-gallon. The 60-gallon and 90-gallon both have that sort of self-latching cart. So if you close the lid, it should be latched and you shouldn't have to worry about it. But just wanted to point that out. So what are some of the benefits? Well, the hope is when the cart tips over from the wind, it won't open because they're gonna remain locked. Granted, if you'd lock it yourself for the 20-gallon and 35-gallon. The 60 and 90 should automatically lock. And so when it tips over in the wind, should not open, should not release all the contents. So like I said, it just adds a more secure option. And because recyclables are not bagged like garbage, obviously recyclables are really, quite susceptible to wind-blown debris everywhere. It could potentially satisfy our color coding requirements both on multifamily if we order enough, and potentially if down the line, there is no requirement for residential right now, but with RMA, which is the Recycling Modernization Act, I'm not sure if they're going to implement a color-coded requirement for color carts of gray, blue, green, but we would be at least one step ahead, which if we chose one of these options. Automatic trucks, this is an if. Automatic trucks could be used on all Troutdale routes, because currently we do not have automatic trucks on all routes in Troutdale, if we went to all self-locking carts. So that would require would not require a driver to get out and unlock the bungee cord. This could potentially save and increase route efficiency, which the Waste Management and all haulers are very keen about, is efficiency. So if you have efficiency, the hope is you would have results in labor savings, truck time savings, other savings, right? A little less time spent at every stop, making so you can get through your route quicker. Trucks would not need to squeeze, pound, use various techniques to pop open the lid if they don't get out of the truck to release the bungee cord. So the thought is potentially this may mean less repairs needed for repairs on the lids of the carts. So residents would not have to have carts that are down and or not functioning maybe for longer periods of time. They wouldn't have to call Waste Management customer service. Maybe that'd be better, right? That's the hope, if that is the case. Drawbacks, well, again, it's increased cost for your monthly bill. And this would be, again, monthly. It's not a one-time $1.73 or $1.67. It's every month you'd have that. And this would be spread out over a number of years. So most likely 7 years. And then if we increased the length of the term of the franchise agreement another 4 years at its midway point to make it 8 years again, it could be potentially extended out to lower that cost again. So it's all about drawing out the cost, right? The longer you can draw out that cost, the lower the monthly cost is for customers. How durable these carts are, we're not sure. I don't have any experience. They're not readily used as far as I'm aware in the region, so I'm not sure. What is the durability of these carts and their lids? And if you already have bungee cord for garbage and recycling carts and they've been working fine, you would say, why? Why would I need to pay more for something that already works well? Here's a big breakdown of the operating margin. So I want to point out this is option 1. This is just adopting the operating margin rate adjustment. So this is for cost of operations of Waste Management, which we haven't done in 2 years. So as you can see, the percent change ranges from high 4s to low 6%. That's a change if you take it across $1.30 all the way up to your largest commercial 6-yard 1 time per week. That's an increase of $28.82 per month. And then if we look over further yet to the right in that chart, that we see Gresham's rates, we see Fairview's rates, Wood Village, and Portland. Mind you, Portland has garbage service every other week, so a little different there in terms of level of service. But we are within the range of some of our Eastern County partners. All right, here is option 2. Now this is adding option 1 and with the food waste on top of option 1. So this is the operating margin cost increase along with food waste. And you can see other cities, Milwaukee, Beaverton, Forest Grove, Portland, who already have food waste at the curb service. And this is how our rates would stack up with their rates then, if we increased both the base operating margin in option 1 and added food waste as option 2. Here is option 3. This is just adding the operating margin cost and the latching carts, not including the food waste. So this is with 1 cart, 2 carts, 3 carts, as you can see what those costs would be. I'm going to have a summary at the end of this slides that kind of hopefully have a little bit more meaning. Otherwise, I know looking at rates is okay. Kind of doesn't mean maybe a whole lot. This is option 4 though. This is adding the base operating cost rate plus the food waste plus the latching carts. And then depending on how many carts would be added. And then here are some rates compared to other utilities. It's always helpful to kind of get a sense, okay, how much are we paying for garbage in terms of other utilities? Water, sanitary, storm, electricity, internet, cellular. Okay, and I made some, tried to add up a monthly total based on if you got, higher levels of water usage, the same sanitary, same storm, of course, maybe different electricity. I'm not totally sure if my electricity rates were totally accurate. These are all kind of based off of what I could find on the research. And then different levels of internet, different levels of cellular. Nonetheless, it's a lot of money, it looks like, for a lot of services. And then here are some rates. What are they compared to other daily, day-to-day things we do? Okay, we go get Starbucks maybe. We go get a food delivery service that we pay monthly for. We get Spotify Music monthly. We get Amazon Prime monthly. We get Netflix monthly. What are these costs looking like? Well, again, nothing's cheap, right? When you add it all up, it's all kind of expensive for a monthly bill and a family. So comparison of annual total. So this is where I took like the difference in the rate of what our current rate is of garbage. What would be option 1? So option 1 is strictly adding on that increase for Waste Management for their operating margin. So what does that look like in an annual total? So you're paying about $15 more per year. You're paying about $21 more per year if you have a 35 gallon. You're paying $28 more if you have a 60. So those are those rates with just option 1. If you add option 2, which is the food waste, then you're looking at paying $24 more per year. You're looking at almost $30 more per year. You're looking at almost $37 per year, as you can see. Option 3 is, again, only carts and the operating margin, no food waste included. There's those options there for 1 cart, 2 carts, 3 carts. And then option 4 is we're getting the operating margin increase, we're getting food waste added, and we're getting the carts, and depending on how many carts. So as you can see, again, it can add up to a lot of money. No one wants to pay more. I understand that. So we did a summary, a brief survey. We started it Friday morning. We had 2 questions, just to throw it out there on Facebook, social media, wherever our social media, Kevin, put it out there at. And here's our response for food waste. 54% said, no, thank you, we're good. 39.1% said, yes. And we had about, 6% or 7% that said, not sure. So it leaned more towards the 350 responses, no. Now, could I verify all of these were Troutdale residents? No, I cannot. So I do not know if that was all Troutdale residents. Hopefully, majority were. And then the second question was roll carts. What's your opinion on roll carts? Yes, I'd like 1. Yes, I'd like 2. Yes, I'd like 3. No, thank you at all. Not sure. So there you go. There's a breakdown of that as well. A little more evenly split, 50-50. So that was the responses. And so then I went back through and I said, well, let me pull out some of the responses because we got a lot of comments, right? So having latching carts is great, but waste management stinks, we'll say, at fixing broken carts. If I'm paying extra, they had better repair it when it breaks in a timely manner, okay? Next comment. As long as the garbage truck stops spewing oil on the pavement, I'm probably okay with these upgrades. It's every week they leave oily spots on my street. Gross. So that has been an issue I've heard about as well. We've tried to work to address it. Waste Management has tried to work to address this in a timely manner when it's reported their trucks are leaking and hopefully when the drivers notice it. So hopefully that issue will be better. No, because some people do not break down their cardboard boxes, etc., which doesn't allow them to shut the lids completely. Then it blows over and spreads throughout the neighborhood, in which they never pick it up. And no, on the food waste, I am not going to separate food waste. The yard debris containers stink enough from the wet grass molding. Personally, I am tired of paying more and more for utility bills. So that's a running comment. I heard a lot in these, tired of paying more. I don't believe now is the time to raise fees on anything. Gas and food and utilities fees are problematic for families already under economic stress. Next time, voting for more money for police, fire, schools, and city services will be a definite no. So I highlighted that one because I know that's been something recent. So just wanted to point that out. It seems like a lot of the wind blown with litter is from folks overstuffing their recycle or trash bin or leaving loose Amazon boxes unsecured next to the bin. Not sure how this new bin would prevent that. Correct. It cannot repair, it cannot overcome overstuffing of your carts, and it cannot overcome putting things outside the cart as well. So it won't solve all the problems. Stop trying to find ways to take more money out of my pocket. That was to the point. The bungee cord system works great, but a lot of people overfill their garbage and don't use it. I'm from Troutdale, and I am forever cleaning up people's garbage on the side of my house. So what would be any different with the new carts? People need to be smarter. Like I said, there were a lot of running themes that were very common in some of these comments. Customers shouldn't have to pay anymore. So here you go, Waste Management. It should be the company that provides the latching trash cans, especially for Troutdale where it's windy. The current hooks break every other week, it seems. You should make the small, regular trash cans bigger than recycled. So that's if you get a different service size. You can have a larger cart. Maybe they were not, but just wanted to point that out. This failed in Portland. I'm assuming they're speaking of food waste. Why do we need this? If someone composts at home, why charge them extra? The amount of food in the garbage is minimal, which is true. It could be rather minimal. I think it estimated 2.5 pounds per month, maybe, per customer, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. What would Waste Management do with the thousands of containers replaced? So I thought this was interesting. I asked Dave earlier today, and he said they would just adopt these, all of our containers or carts or whatever would be left, and put them back into their system and other places, because now we would have our own very unique carts that no one else in the region would have. So we would have our own circulating amount of carts to be used here in Troutdale. So anyways, they would be used, they would not be landfilled. The carts were already supposed to be secured and Waste Management removed them. Why do we need to pay more for something that was already supposed to exist? The comment below was a follow-up to this because there were several people that followed up and agreed with this first comment. I'm glad you asked that question because the people who, with a modicum of brilliance and their own opinion, have come up with a solution to another non-problem, you just need to pay for it and recognize they saved your life and you should treat them accordingly. I personally am not trying to save anyone's life. I was hoping to make it a little better. This was a positive one that we also had some other positives one, but I thought I'd throw in the last one as a positive. I am thrilled that y'all are considering food waste and wind mediation, and I will gladly pay for both. We moved from Portland to Troutdale in 2023 and have really missed the compost pickup and are not loving chasing the cans down these windy streets. Thank you for your willingness to solve both problems at once. Okay, different opinion. So choices. Tonight, we could say, no, we're gonna pass on any operating margin increase. We're not gonna choose to do anything currently. So option one, we could just, City Council could just choose to do the operating margin rate increase. That would be perfectly good too. Option two, we could choose option one and the food waste. Option three, which is option one and just the cart. 1 cart, 2 carts, 3 carts. Or we could do option 4, which is the option 1, plus the food waste, plus any number of carts. And I do know food waste service could be dropped at the next rate review. So if we did decide to do food waste and people said, this is a mess, it's a mess, it's bringing in, I'm not using it, whatever the reason, we could decide later, okay, we're done, we're not doing that service anymore. Because the yard debris cart would stay the same. It all is getting collected on the same route. There would be no new route or an added route to change, so that could be easily removed. Everything else, well, specifically to the carts, no. That once you choose for that cart, that's gonna be with us for a while because someone's gonna have to pay for it. So there could be other options here, miscellaneous ways of going about this, but I just kind of tried to lay it out simplified. I know this is probably not simplified. And then, thank you.
On the choice.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Do we have to, in an option B, you can stick with a regular cart, or you could get the new cool cart? Or do we have to go with either you get the cool cart or you stick with your old cart?
Yeah, so I did ask Dave that earlier today, because I did have some comments, and some people asked that very question. Hey, what if I want to just keep my cart, or what if I want to get the cool cart? You could pay out of pocket for the new cart. It would be more expensive to do that, because Waste Management's not gonna amortize that cost over the number of years that maybe you're living in that home or whatnot, right? So that cart would be yours. You're not gonna take that cart and then put it in the system and rotate it around with other homes. That's your cart. So I was asking Dave, I don't know if we had an answer yet, but potentially it sounded like you could just buy it out of pocket if you wanted.
But an option wouldn't be, you could have either or, you want to pay a little more, we have to decide it's one cart or the other as an option.
I believe so in terms of, if you're gonna do that option 3 or whatever it might be, if we're gonna add it to the cities, we're gonna put it in everyone's. Recycling, we could just do a recycling cart, we could just do a garbage cart, we could just do whatever, right? Or no carts. But it did sound, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, not correcting me, so it sounds like potentially, if you bought out of pocket, someone could have a cool new cart.
All right, thank you. Other questions from council? John?
A couple of questions. Yeah, so first, let's go with the last one. So on the food waste, you said if it doesn't work out, we'll drop it, right?
We could, potentially at next year's rate review, let's say.
Go back down. That would help.
Correct.
And then, so this locking cart, you say that the trucks can pick it up and dump it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what, if it tips over, it won't open.
It won't.
But if it tips over far enough, it will open, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if it falls down the bank, potentially it's tipped far enough that it pops open, right?
Potentially, I guess. I don't know the total mechanism, how it works and how it releases itself. I'm not sure if has to do with some sort of weight. Once you lift it up with that arm of the truck, that, you know, the contents would push something, and then, but falling down doesn't necessarily release it. I'm not totally sure on that, Counselor Leamy, but that is what I've been told, is that vertical kind of dump is what releases that latch. Hopefully not a 45 to 90, or not 90, less than 90-degree angle. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes, Glenn.
I kind of agree with the one comment. It seems like the new carts are more efficient and people can't overfill it. So it's like, it seems like those are both main benefits for waste management. I wonder if they might do it anyway, you know, if we didn't charge for it. 'Cause I think
I'm not sure.
for you guys, I'm thinking of the employees as well, you know, not having to get in and out of that truck. It's gonna save injuries, and see a lot of benefits with that cart. And the problem I've had with these carts is we never own them, you know, we're basically renting them forever. And the same thing would be true.
It would be true, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unless, like I said, potentially you just buy it outright, and then that's your cart, and you hope that it doesn't blow away or someone comes to take it, right? And then you're kind of out of that money. So, but yeah, you're essentially gonna still be renting if we did any of these options with new carts.
Are customers required to have a yard debris service can, or can they opt out?
I think we do have a program where they can opt out of the yard debris program.
Prove that you're composting yourself, is that?
Yes, there is some, mechanism to verification. I can't remember all the steps, but I know we do have a number of customers that have done that in the city.
Then what about the recycle bin? Same question.
That one, we do not have an opt-out. Yeah, that's state mandated for everyone has to recycle on a weekly basis. So we have to offer those cards. Yeah.
That's helpful, thank you.
Sure.
Just to follow up, Jeffrey, hang on.
Yeah.
You said the new carts couldn't be overfilled, but I guess I'm not. Why not?
They could be.
Wouldn't be able to latch
They
it.
wouldn't be able to latch.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna latch them, because I know with the bungee cord, you can still latch it and get an extra
Oh, yeah.
gallons in there, you know.
Right.
Yeah, these would definitely require you to shut that lid all the way in order to lock. But again, if you overfill, you leave your lid slightly ajar and it doesn't get that lock, wind could come, blow it open, the whole problem could exist still. So it doesn't correct user error 100%, of course. Yeah.
And, I think on your cons for the food scrap was odor.
Odor,
On there.
that could be
I
something.
walked by some of these restaurants that have them now, and it's like, oh, on a hot summer day, it's definitely gonna attract, vectors and raccoons and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even bears, we're right on the edge of the gorge here.
Well, these carts, they were designed for bear proofing, so, if we had a cart,
Impressive.
yeah, they were designed for that, but.
Two questions. So, sticking on the carts first, I think one of the biggest things I've heard is that they squeeze them, they try to pop them open so they don't have to get out. And mine is like broken, the bungee is broken like all the time. And I know that because I've gotten a picture that they said, hey, your garbage can was overfilled on a non-windy day. And then they charged me a little extra from this, and you get a little picture. So my question is, can we get something, since there's a camera and there's pictures, to help repair, kind of get ahead of the game and repair the cans without everybody having to call in? Is there something that the trucks can do to monitor that, or that somebody can do? Maybe they can hit a little button to say this one needs to be fixed, and it can alert Waste Management ahead of time so it doesn't fall so much on the homeowner to constantly call in or have to repair it themselves.
I'll speak first and then I'll let Dave maybe jump in. I know Waste Management last I believe, December, did try to do a sweep in Troutdale and try to identify all those carts that were having bungee issues, because I believe we had a wind event in November that was pretty bad. And so that prompted them, okay, let's go out, let's try to fix this. Now, in terms of the camera, I have not heard them going out to solve those issues based on their cameras and any photos. So that's, that would be, I would think, a good idea if they could be monitoring that as well for repairs, identifying the carts that repair. And then the second question, sorry, what was it, Councilor Wood?
Well, or there's like, I know they have like a little computer screen, little buttons that they could just hit, like, it needs to be fixed, and then they move on, so they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And then somebody can come by and fix them. Because I think if we can get ahead of, we don't want to have a wind event, because then everything's gonna be right. So if we can get ahead of it, and the wind event can be prevented.
Yeah.
Potentially, or at least mitigated a little bit.
So I do not have the Waste Management app, so I'm not familiar with the app and what it has. I do know on the website that Waste Management has put in a place where you can kind of go, and it's right at the top. I know it's kind of a busy top, and so there's a lot of info, but there is a button that you can click and then go to and say cart lid, whatever needs to be repaired, and submit a ticket for your address. So people could do that. Again, though, whether that they know about it, whether or not they have access to a computer to navigate to do that, I don't know either. That's sometimes an issue as well. And I will say, this was another issue that we were brainstorming on, accessibility. So if someone did have a recycling, let's say, because recycling carts are all 60 gallons, so everyone would have that self-latching kind of mechanism where you have to pinch. And that could be difficult maybe for a resident who just doesn't have that motor skill right now. And so Waste Management did say there is the possibility to give them an older cart with a bungee if need be, just so they don't have to worry about that accessibility on the cart. So that could be an issue.
And then my next question is, do you know how much money Allwood would lose if we
don't? Yeah, I don't know. Waste Management may have better sense of our tonnage going there. I don't remember offhand what that number is.
Anyone else with questions? I think all my questions were answered. I will open it to public comment. I think it would be good to see if there is any. We've got a choice of just increasing the rate to where the company is fairly compensated, or adding some services that, haven't had before. So it's a tough one. I'll start with we'll open public comment for anyone on Zoom who wishes to comment.
Mayor Ritma, Paul Wilcox, Troutdale.
Yes, Paul.
Okay. First a question I'd like to ask Ryan where I can get $10 internet. Okay. Second, I have a personal complaint. I actually have a 35-gallon recycling container because 60 would take up too much space in my garage, but I'm paying for a 60-gallon container. As far as the rate increases go, I'm fine with option one. I was hoping the food waste and the lid enhancement option would be optional, individually optional, but it sounds like it's an all or none kind of deal. So I personally oppose those. I'm okay with the bungee cord personally. I replace those. When I get one broken, I replace it myself and just go down to the truck stop and get a bungee cord, and for I don't know what they cost anymore, $2 or $3. So anyway, that's where I would come down.
All right. Anyone else on Zoom? How about here in the council chambers? Anyone care to address us on this issue? We're considering, we'll be voting on a resolution dealing with this issue.
My name's Tiffany Long. I'm a Troutdale resident, live right up the street. I think it would be really good to have locking carts for just the recycling bins and not the regular garbage cans, because most people put garbage inside a garbage bag and they're usually tied up when you carry them out of the house. And I think the real problem with the wind and the trash is just the recycling bin. And so what I'm curious about is the cost versus us having the fancy locking carts for both versus us just having the fancy locking carts for the recycling bin. Because in my house, we put all our paper, all our junk mail, all our little cardboard Amazon boxes, everything just goes into that loose. I don't bag it, it just goes in loose. And I feel like walking the neighborhoods and going by the elementary school, that's one area. I always feel bad for the elementary school because those trash cans get blown over and all that trash gets blown onto the fence line at the elementary school. And a lot of times what I notice is it's recycling goods, it's paper, it's cardboard. And so if you guys are gonna go forward with this, which doesn't sound like that's what the 360 people really wanted to do, they don't want to pay extra. I know my husband doesn't want to pay extra, but I would do it for one and not the other. I don't know if that's a possibility, to just do it for our recycle bins and not do it for our garbage cans. Also, garbage weighs a lot more than the recycling. It's usually heavier, so it holds the cans down and they don't get blown over as much. So that was just a thought, and I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. What else? Well, that does bring up a good question. Is it possible to just do the laundry carts for the recycling?
Yeah, when I had the chart up there for options of 1 cart, 2 cart, 3 cart, it really didn't matter which service had the 1 cart, 2 carts, or 3 carts. So you could start with 1 cart and you could only do it for recycling. You could do 1 cart only for garbage. It's up to the city council. Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Of course.
Everybody has the same size recycling cart. And we all get to choose different size garbage carts. So in my mind, it would cost more for them to have to buy several different garbage cart options versus one same size recycling cart for everybody. I'll stop.
The consultant, when they did the calculation, estimated that it would just be $1.67 across the board.
Oh, really?
Regardless of size of the cart.
35 versus 95, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
All right. Any other public comment? Well, it's a tough one. Yeah, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Another question, just, so we have the options, one of the options was do nothing.
Yep.
So my question is who pays, because you said that they are guaranteed an operating margin between 8 and 12%, and they haven't gotten that the last 2 years.
Correct.
So who pays, if we decide to do nothing, who pays for that?
It gets bigger eventually, in terms of what their request would be year after year. So let's say next year,
Yeah, okay, that's,
we're already over halfway through
Yeah.
this current year. So I'm guessing, meeting the operating margin, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen with a couple months left of the year. So, right, so if you delay the bill this year, Waste Management will still be showing they're below that operating margin range. And then they'll be asking for a larger increase next year potentially. And then if we pass it again, it just keeps growing. So the issue doesn't necessarily go away.
no one right now is gonna pay, if we decide to do that, no one will pay more, it just goes on. But like, the city doesn't get a tax bill or a bill for that, or nothing like that, just eventually, if we approve it 20 years from now, it's gonna be like, well, it's a $20 increase.
Yeah, the increases would be very big, yeah.
So the resolution that we have in our packet does not result if we were to not adopt any of the enhancements, would not cause a rate increase at all? Is that, it was kind of hard to tell because there's these very fine print charts that are attached to the resolution. I couldn't tell what it meant.
That was the rate schedule. And so I believe the rate schedule had the increase included of the operating margin. And then on the side margin, I tried to show, If you added one cart, you know, you'd add $1.67, I believe.
I understand that, but if we were to decide not to do any of the enhancements, just give Waste Management the return they're entitled to, will this resolution
Satisfy that option?
and will that result in everybody's bill going up a little bit?
Yes.
But it would be the least of all
Yes.
the options.
Yes, it would be option one. So yes, the rate schedule that was attached as an attachment, that is an example of option one, which is the operating margin increase. And then I think I had an extra chart if you had food waste added to your residential, and then I had on the side margin, I believe, the $1.67 would be added to each number. I'm sorry, it was not the most clear probably way of doing this, but
The slide you showed option one was do nothing.
that was in the summary. I said you could do nothing, and then option one was below it, yeah, which is the operating margin increase of, you know, range of 4.6, I think, % for a 20-gallon up to 6 point something for another size. And then it had other, you know, it was commercial rates too. So rates in general would be adjusted across the board, not just residential commercial rates. It'd be commercial rates, it'd be some other rates that are all in the rate schedule.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this rate increase is per can, right? So if we increase it $2.33 per 65, you know, we're paying an extra $7 a month.
I'm not sure which.
It says it plus 2 latching roll carts at the top of that table 1. Is that what you're looking at?
Table one, yeah.
Yeah, that,
Total impact of plus 2 latching, so you would get garbage and recycling with that rate.
all right. My confusion is still, this resolution, we have the choice of doing nothing, no rate increase at all for Waste Management, or giving them the rate increase they're entitled to, or any of these enhancements. Those are kind of the choices.
Correct.
Is that right? Well, this resolution, if we adopted this resolution, which one does it do?
The resolution, yeah, that's where it's a little confusing. So the resolution, yeah, I think you would have to, within the resolution, because I didn't create separate rate schedules based on the different, whichever resolution you would accept, which version, I guess, is a better way of saying it. So that, the base resolution there, the rate schedule, includes just the option one operating margin increase for Waste Management to cover their costs of operation. It does include, however, you're right, a table that's showing, okay, here's what your rates would be with food waste added, and then the side margins showing if you had added a cart, it'd be this much for each. So I'm not quite sure if that's, yeah, if you're saying I adopt this resolution only for option one, you know, I would have to clean that rate schedule up for
I'm thinking for clarity, and this is me speaking as one vote, that this is not the time to, we've talked about locking lids for years, but I just don't feel like doing it right now, given the cost and so on, and the food composting and so on is not, doesn't attract me as something that we should impose on everybody based on the surveys and based on just my feeling about it. So my feeling would be, I do think Waste Management is entitled to recover within the range that they're supposed to. I'm sympathetic to that, although, you know, no increase at all would probably be easiest, but they're entitled to that, and so that's where I would come down. And I don't know if there's sentiment on the council for that kind of approach, but in that case, I would direct staff to come back with a resolution that clearly sets out the correct rate of return for waste management. and not adopt any of the extra.
But if we do option one, that does that, right?
Option one covers their operating margin costs, correct? So that the idea is that they would then be within their operating margin range of 8 to 12%.
That's in their franchise agreement, right? So their franchise agreement guarantees them an 8 to 12% return on their investments.
Our municipal code, I think.
So what were they at before, like this last year with the increase from Metro? Were they under that 8% or?
Yeah, it was like 2.9% for 2024.
So then we're out of compliance with our franchise agreement and therefore they're entitled to that anyways, right? If we don't provide that, couldn't they not just cut services being provided?
I believe they could.
So, John asked, is this resolution option one? I couldn't tell. Okay. When you said.
Yeah, it is, yep. But it does have some add-ons there that makes it confusing. So yeah, I agree that if you were wanting a clear-cut rate schedule, that I should, clean it up. So that's more straightforward.
Other comments? Where does everybody come? Yeah, go
That's
ahead.
a thought, because, we've been hitting our citizens pretty hard lately with a lot of increases. I would have liked to have seen the cans before I make a call. And, I'm thinking of the drivers. I'd love to make their job easier. I mean, it's a hard enough job as it is, increase efficiency. My thought is to let's finish up this year. Let's get the cans in and do it right. Make a proper decision. It gives us time to talk to the citizenry as well, one-on-one. There isn't. When will this year's contract be up?
No contract. We're under the franchise agreement for another 7 years. It was adopted last October 1st.
I thought someone said we're halfway through.
I'm in for the 2025, the cost report that I'll receive next March will summarize the 2025 operating costs. So because it's over halfway done with the year and they've been operating below their margin, it's going to be a larger, deficit next year.
Metro's the real culprit in this thing. But it's just like with the police and fire contracts, it forced us to look at other options. And if you get too high, we're going to have to do something. So I'm in waste management here, so don't take that wrong. But
If I could just add on.
pushback is needed.
With these new Metro tipping fees, I don't know what the exact number is, but it was like pretty substantial this last year. And so that has bumped everybody's trash service up. And I think you're just gonna see that cost increasing because they're no longer just shipping it overseas. Like now there's like stipulations on handling that material, so.
We're just going to Arlington.
And other sites, Arlington and other Metro dumping sites.
We have to have a recycle bin then.
Yes, Jesse.
I'd be comfortable now moving forward with option one. I like you said, I don't feel comfortable with the food waste, the fancy bins. It would work for some of us, like me personally, that would be beneficial for recycling, not needed for garbage because garbage is so heavy. But now I don't feel like it's the right time to ask for extra money that apparently 350 respondents said they are not interested in anyway. For us to make the decision for them, pay more for something they don't even want.
Okay, John?
I was going to say the same thing. I propose that we go with option one and not even look at any of the others because we've got some pretty heavy stuff coming forward. And if we force something else on all the citizens, we're cutting our own throat down the road on fire and police.
And the resolution in our packet, as written, accomplishes option one.
I would remove the table showing food waste costs, and obviously I would clean up the margin so it doesn't have $1.67.
That would be okay to adopt it then, if we're interested. So, if there's no further comment, John made a motion, is there a second? This is to adopt the resolution, which is option
Need a
one.
motion.
Oh, did you make a motion?
I will make a motion.
Well, Zach didn't raise his hand, so, but Zach, how you doing? You want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, sure. Excuse the crying baby in the background here.
It's all right.
Yeah, so I agree with Jesse's sentiments and John's. Realistically, I mean, if the choice were to really do nothing, yeah, but as Mike pointed out,
Zach, you're fading.
I was saying if services could potentially be cut because of that, I don't necessarily obviously want to risk that and risk our relationship. So I'm fine moving forward with just the necessary increases and nothing more at this time based around our needs and the needs of everybody who responded to the survey, as well as just a lot of the other sentiments. I don't want to hurt local business either, and that's a big part of it.
All right, thanks.
So just clarity, so if we vote for option one, like, you're just gonna clean up the language and it's just gonna follow with what we agreed?
Yes, that would be, the option one increase was covering the costs for the operating margin of waste management.
So we would adopt the resolution establishing solid waste collection fees and rescinding resolution number 2603. So,
With option one.
and that's option one. So do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution establishing solid waste collection fees and rescinding resolution number 2603. Second.
All right. Sarah?
Excuse me, Counselor Leamy,
Yes.
Counselor Andrews,
Yes.
Counselor Allen,
Yes.
Counselor One,
Yes.
Mayor Ritma,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Davidson.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yep.
And it was definitely worth the discussion. I mean, but I think we're just not in a mind to go with all the extras right now and impose it on everybody. So let's move forward. Thanks again. We'll move on to agenda item number 5, an update from the Public Safety Services Delivery Working Group.
Mayor, last night I updated the Public Safety Working Group about a task force that's being formed. Currently, Gresham held a work session last week. They're proposing a 15-member task force that includes the 4 mayors of all 4 cities, 4 city managers, 1 counselor elect from all 4 cities, the fire chief, union rep, and a rep from Fire District 10, in hopes of exploring the options to create a fire district or join Fire District 10 or find some other solution that is best suited. The task force will hopefully start here in October with its first meeting and then continue over the course of the next couple of years while we find a suitable solution and best option to present to the public for going to the ballot measure to join a district. Right now, it looks like all 4 cities are on board with this plan to move forward in that course. It does mean that we'll need to execute a IGA with Gresham, like an extension IGA in the interim with all 3 cities, us, Fairview, Wood Village, independently with Gresham in this time. City manager for Gresham, Eric Schmidt, has reached out. He's working on those IGAs currently and plans to have them over to the other 3 cities in the near future as kind of a stopgap measure while we find the best solution working toward a district. I think all 4 cities recognize that the current system is unsustainable into the future, and that the fire district is really the only way that we can continue to fund our public safety services at that level. And so that's where we're at today. What I'm asking the council to consider is to choose a representative to sit in on that task force. So when it comes out of Gresham with the final formation, we'll have a rep already ready to go. And we don't know when those meeting times are. We don't have a lot of information right now to go off of. I presented the Gresham proposal to the Public Safety Work Group yesterday, and some of what they were talking about is even though they chose to go forward with the task force and recommend that we do this, but they also want us to really consider going forward with our police force effort as well. So that was one of the things that was a concern, is that if we delay the fire district, what's that gonna do to our police force? We only have 3 years with Multnomah County and how that's going. So also counselors were present that can update areas that I may have missed from that council, and I'll defer to you all.
And Mr. Mayor, the process for appointments for committees that are outside the city is for the council to approve. If it's for an inside city. So.
I thought it was the other way around.
Am I saying it backwards?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. I said it exactly backwards.
And we did discuss at the delivery working group last night, and Councilor Allen had expressed, she's the chair of the working group, expressed an interest in being on this task force, and I checked with her today, and as long as they make the meetings after 4:30, she's willing to do it. So I recommend that we appoint Councilor Allen and make sure that meetings, a big group like that is going to have to, including city councilors and volunteer mayors, is going to have to in the evening. It's just going to have to. It's very important.
So after great thought, while I was sitting during my parent meetings this afternoon, I realized that I have IEPs that I have to attend to, I have union meetings I have to attend to, and my concern is that they're going to interfere with being involved in that committee, because then I'm going to have to choose, and most likely I'm going to have to choose my job. And so I thought I would like to recommend Jeffrey, just because he's been part of the fire all this time, and I think that he would be a good person to represent us as a counselor. I just think he should be the one.
Well, he's the other member of this council that's on the delivery working group and has been for a long time. And so Jeffrey, would you be willing?
Yeah, I am perfectly willing.
All right, well, with that, yes.
I have a point of order question about this task force, because shouldn't that be a council decision to decide if we're gonna?
I think we should decide if we want to participate tonight and communicate.
With no information or no?
Well,
there's
all
no
right.
public notice?
This isn't making any final decisions. It's a task force. All right, I'll give you my impression, and Jeffrey might weigh in, or Carol, but for years now, Gresham has been reluctant to consider joining a fire district. There has been movement lately to consider it, and this is the way forward. That doesn't mean we have to do it the way Gresham wants to do it or anything else, but in order for this process to go forward, an absolutely essential element of it is that Gresham needs to agree to continue to provide fire service to Wood Village, Fairview, and Troutdale under reasonable terms, like the extension they gave last year. And this group, part of their task would be to make sure that happens. If that doesn't happen, we in Troutdale and Wood Village and Fairview need to look to other possibilities. But to give this this is called a task force, a chance, I think we've got to participate in it and be active, and I'm in favor of it. But as far as notice, this has been a discussion for years. And this task force is simply putting out a roadmap. Once they come up with a roadmap, that's when we vote. That's when we need maximum public input.
But I do apologize for not giving you the documents that were out there that I presented to PISA, to the Public Safety Work Group yesterday. I should have included those in this packet, and I apologize for that. I definitely provided.
You're making an assumption that the whole city is for a district, and I don't think they are. And I think the optics are bad. I think we need to properly notice it and have a discussion amongst ourselves. I don't know very much about this myself. I've not been part of the public working group.
Councilor White, I don't think there's an assumption that the whole city is in favor of this, because the whole city needs to know what the terms might be before they could consider it. And this is the process to define what the terms would be going forward, to see if the city would support it. It's a process that you've been taking part in for some time, with the mayors going out and reaching out, and the managers reaching out to Gresham, reaching out to the other two cities in order to get to where we are. So this is more a continuation of the process that's been reported on for some time, to see if this city can get to terms that it can live with.
And it's more, with the task force, it's more of just getting us all in the same room to find out what our needs are as communities. And I think it's also discussing on which direction is best suited for all four cities to go together into a potential fire district, or a formulation of their own fire district, or is it some sort of conglomeration of different avenues or different courses forward. So I think this is more of like a problem-solving entity to try to take a look at this situation and see if we can come up with a solution that works for all four cities.
You know, whether we join a fire district will ultimately be something that's voted on by the citizens of Troutdale. We will not be able to join a fire district unless the citizens vote for it. So there's going to be plenty of time, shall we say. We don't have time right now. We've got to decide the direction we want to head. But the question before us now is, how do we get fire service? Right now, it's done under contract. But if we want to join a fire district, up till now, we haven't had Gresham on board with any interest, really, until just very recently. And this task force will lay out a possible way to do it. But in the end, the citizens have to vote for it. It affects their taxes. It's not going to be an easy sell. I'm not saying that.
Is there going to be a plan B in case that doesn't happen?
We'll have to contract for a fire service. We're currently contracting with Gresham. We'll have to either continue to contract with Gresham, or we'll find another way to do it. But we have to provide that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to I think this group, we started the public safety work. We've identified a need, and that we know that our general fund is not going to be able to be sustained while we have fire service in there like we're providing right now. And so we've been working, and I think this group has been, we are, I don't want to say light years ahead, but we're a year ahead of where Gresham just finally got to. And in their work group, where they were presented with all the information, they 7-0 agreed to look into moving towards a fire district. And in that meeting, they suggested this task force with the three cities. So this is Gresham identifying that we need to all be at the table together. And I think it's really important that we, in my view, Gresham has a lot of, they have a lot of assets and they have a lot of things to work out, way more than we do. And I want to be, I'm captain positive of this team, just to be clear, in that we need to support them through that. They need to support the three cities because we are a community as a whole through this. And the best way to move forward is to do this together and to come up with a plan that we can all present together. And this is a great way to start that conversation and getting on the same page.
Anyone else?
Well, I just wanted to back up what Jeffrey said, because the working group was commissioned to figure out what we needed, how to get this going and looking at the fire. And I think this puts us at the table talking to Gresham. I mean, where before Gresham wasn't talking, now they're willing to come to the table, and they're willing to come to the table with all of the cities. And at least this gets us figuring out where we're gonna go. Are we gonna do this? Are we not? At least coming up with the information and then presenting it to the voters at the end. Because the voters are gonna vote yes or no to it. But we have to have something for them to vote on. And so either way, the cost is gonna go higher for fire protection. It just is. So I just think it's important to get us at the table, sit down with the four cities, which includes Gresham, and figure out what we're gonna do and what we're gonna present to our voters.
So is the working group finished then? They're dissolved? And there isn't going to be any private citizen on this task force group?
You're talking about the public safety delivery working group?
Yeah, I'm asking.
He's talking.
It's not dissolved, so they're still going to meet?
Oh, yeah.
And then,
For one thing, we're dealing with police too.
The task force is going to be city managers, mayors, and one counselor. So my concern is that we don't have anybody.
So Glenn, it's gonna be 4 city managers, 4 mayors, 4 city councilors, fire chief Maynard, I'm reading it sideways, IAFF representative, and fire district 10 representative. That's who's gonna be on the task force.
I would like to see somebody from the public on that as well, but.
We did discuss that last night, and I think we kind of came to the consensus that it would just be too many people, and the job of the 2 representatives, if it's Dave and myself, would be, we will come back and present what we discussed in there to the public safety working group. And so that group can then huddle up, talk about what we as a city want to do, to take back to there, to take to the council, to make sure that our collective voices are heard correctly.
So you'll be bringing things back to the council.
Yeah, I mean, that would, yeah, for sure, yeah. It's gonna be communication all the way around.
Rich Allen had asked if he could speak on this issue, and so let me open it to public comment. See if there's anyone. I'll start with Zoom just to see if anyone wants to address. This isn't actually an agenda item. This is city concerns or staff concerns, but it's a report. It's actually a report. We don't have an official thing, but we are at the point of participating in a task force. The other cities, our neighboring cities, and Fire District 10 on a plan to move forward with a possible fire district. So that's the issue. Anyone out on Zoom wish to address the council on this?
Mayor Ritma, Paul Wilcox, Troutdale.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. If you're going to be deciding on your counselor representative for the task force this evening, as Mike mentioned, this is going to be a multi-year process. So you're not going to get it resolved by the end of 2026. So I would strongly recommend the council representative be someone who was elected to a 4-year term in 2024, who will be, be there through 2028. So if Councilor Allen feels she's unavailable, that would be either Councilor White or Councilor Leamy. The other 3 would be up for reelection in 26, or they might decide not to run for reelection. So that's my recommendation. Thank you.
All right, I don't believe that this task force is going to go on for years. It's just to form a path forward to see if there's a possibility of creating a fire district. Really, that's the goal. And it isn't going to go, it isn't even going to go to the end of this year. I don't think it's important that direction be developed. And but good point, Paul, as always. Rich, or I'll open it to anyone else in the room, but Rich first.
Thank you. Rich Allen, Troutdale. So I believe I was the one who, during the working group, brought up the desire for citizen representation. And the discussion was about how large the group was going to be, and that's probably going to be unwieldy. And I thought that was a valid argument. And so my preference would be that somebody who's been on the working group, Mayor, you're obviously going to be there. My preference is that somebody in the working group beyond that, because they've been listening to the citizens who've been commenting at the meeting, they've been hearing the working group out, they know the concerns. And my personal preference from last night was actually Councilor One. So I didn't know that Councilor Allen wasn't going to be available. We haven't talked about today, but Councilor One would be my preference. Great.
Anyone else in the council wish to address the council on this matter?
I have a quick question. Sitting on Troutdale. Are these tasks, are these public? Can anybody go to these? Do we know if there'll be public meetings?
Oh, yeah.
The task force?
There'll be public meetings for sure.
That was my question.
No, absolutely. Well, okay, further discussion, or my thought is, first of all, vote to ratify the choice of Councilor One to be the counselor to represent the city on this. Maybe even before that, can we have an affirmation? I don't think we need to necessarily vote on it, but to participate. I strongly favor participating in this task force. It's right before us. It's going to happen in less than a month. The other cities
We don't have
need to know that we're on board.
We don't have to vote on one. You appoint him, right?
I appoint him, it's with the consent of council, I think, so that without objection, we'll just leave it with Councilor One and me on it.
I have a comment. I just, Jeffrey, were you not endorsed by Gresham Fire when you ran your election? I think it was on your flyer. And have you met with Gresham Fire on your own at all during this process?
Yeah.
So I think it kind of, to me, that's a concern, and it's, don't take it personally, but,
Well, I mean, Mayor Rittman has also met with them, like we met with them together.
we did.
With Clackamas Fire. And this is like in gathering information and.
the endorsement thing is pretty, and I know you, in your work, you do not work closely with the fire as well? Okay, that I did not know. I'm just bringing it up as a potential, maybe Ed could chime in if that's appropriate or inappropriate.
There's nothing in the ethics rules. Again, I always say the Government Ethics Commission says what I say, it doesn't matter. Only what they say matters. But it's financial matters that are the issue for recusal or not participating. If you have a personal bias, it's always best to disclose it, but it's not even required that if you favor something that you actually do disclose it. But it's just a good practice too. So this would not, having been endorsed doesn't prevent him. It's also a matter of public record. It's now been put out on the public record here, so that wouldn't prevent him from doing this job.
You know, I know they're asking for counselors, but my preference would be to have Tanny on there, so we have someone on the public, and he's our budget committee chair, because this district, the most important part about it is the financial side of things. And taking that, one of our biggest bill out of the general fund and handing it over to the public, I think requires a lot more thought than what I'm seeing here.
So you're not in favor of the composition of this task force as set out, as proposed?
Or doing the task force without proper notice on the agenda and giving the public a chance to chime in. Those are important things. It's not easy for me to say this here tonight, and I hope I'm not offending Gresham Fire or especially Jeffrey, and I apologize. Had I known this was coming up, I would have talked to you in private. So I do apologize for having to bring it up publicly.
But at the same time, it was my understanding that Juan was also doing some research and talking to fire for the working group, because he brought things to the working group, some of the discussions that we had.
Bottom line, it's a negotiation here. I mean, you remember what happened to your husband when he did that very same thing with the county sheriff?
But it's being brought back to us for approval. If we don't approve it, and
Well, I'm sure I'll be outvoted, so if you want to move forward with a vote, I'm going to stop you. I've said my piece.
Can I just point out that like nothing's being decided? The task force is just looking into the possibilities, and they plan to bring forth their findings to each council in each city for the councils to decide on which course of action is the preferred mechanism, whether it's everyone joining Fire District 1, or everyone joining Fire District 10, or everyone going with their own fire district. I think what Gresham and the three cities are acknowledging is that we're on an unsustainable path right now with fire costs, fire and EMS costs escalating, and we're stuck with measures 5 and 50 on a 3% gradient, and that kind of puts us in an unsustainable trend on our general fund. And that's what we were presenting last night too, is that we're taking about a $1.5 million dip into our general fund balances right now, and it's only scheduled to escalate even further each year that we go into the future.
We also have new money coming in that we could earmark for police and fire. The battery farm's one, the cubes is another one. We were told if we got Amazon and FedEx and these other things that we would be in great shape in budget. But that's a problem. The district could occur, and they're not going to stop pushing to change 5 and 50 in addition to that. So I'd like to have somebody that knows the financials more than anybody else on that committee. That's all I'm asking for.
Change 5 and 50? That would require a vote of everyone in the state to change that.
I know, but there's a big effort to do something out there, you know, and they've been changing it little by little. If you buy a house, trying to make it so the purchase price is tax base. And you know more about it than I do, Ed, so.
Measures 5 and 50 have, really the changes have been to add dates for bond passage with subsection K, it's L. But there have been very few changes to 5 and 50 other than process type changes. The caps are still pretty fixed. And my personal thought is I was at 2 or 3 different business groups, been talking about this, government groups on the west side as well, and everybody's saying they need to do it, but nobody's seriously pursuing it.
Good. Makes me feel better.
You know, the task force is to pick up a realistic option of going forward with it would end up having to be a vote of the people to join a fire district. I mean, in the end, the citizens vote for it. This all started in my mind anyway, was when the 3 city councils got together in Wood Village City Hall and decided and announced that they were going to, due to the Gresham's intransigence on not willing to discuss terms of the contract, to go with Clackamas District 1. That started, all of a sudden, it started Gresham thinking about, whoops, well, maybe we should, well, I don't know how soon that happened, but anyway, there's absolutely no question that the Gresham Firefighters Union did not favor that, having the 3 cities depart in that way and go with Clackamas District 1 for various reasons. And through, I think, a large effort on their part and us being, I think, realistic, that was an option that was realistic, that would provide fire services for the 3 cities. That was a way forward. They woke Gresham up to the possibility, maybe we should think about a fire. They studied the finances of it and realized, if you read their financial studies, that they are not going to be able to sustain paying for their fire department out of their general fund anymore. And so, and this has all happened over the summer. And at this point, finally, the Gresham Council had a work session, a month ago or something, where they all spoke in favor of considering a fire district. That was the first break, really. And the city managers have gotten together and developed this idea of a task force. I think it's definitely worth pursuing because it would be logical to have Gresham, Troutdale, Wood Village, Fairview, possibly District 10, join together in a fire district and provide excellent fire service. And it would be something we could all get behind and maybe sell it to the voters. Not an easy task because it's going to be expensive, but it could be done. And that's what this task force gives us the option of doing, developing a path forward that would work. And we've got to move on it right away. There isn't really, there's been plenty of public communication about this over the last couple of years, but we actually have to move on it if we're going to do it. Ray.
Yeah, very good points, Mayor. It's important to remember that not only is this task force not making any financial decisions whatsoever, they're not making any decisions at all. It is simply a chance for the 4 cities to see if they can come up with a path forward. And we do have a short timeline because our current contract for fire says by the end of December, we have to come up with a 4-city solution, is the goal, before everybody starts running off into their own corners and we're left with nothing. So Having this task force move forward is really not a vote for the council. It is simply an opportunity for the four cities to talk, and that's all they're gonna do. There's no decisions. It's not gonna impact, anything they do will not impact citizens of Troutdale's taxes, income, fire service at all. All of that will have to be voted on by the council and the citizens when it gets that far. But right now, this is the fruition of many, many months as the mayor went over the 3 cities meeting, the meetings with Gresham that the city managers have had over the last 3 or 4 months. So this is the next step of, all right, now we need to get the elected officials. And residents of Troutdale, Jeffrey One is a resident of Troutdale. He's also been elected by the citizens to represent them. And so it's an opportunity for the elected representatives to get together along with the city managers to be able to chart that path forward, a best suggestion to you, and then you can make your decisions, and then of course the citizens will have to decide. So that's why it's really important to get moving on this task force so that the 4 cities will have hopefully an option to bring to you to make a decision on.
I mean, we certainly don't have to do it, you know. Whatever this task force comes up with, we don't have to do it. But in the end, the voters, there's only one way a district, we're going to join a fire district, and that's for the citizens of Troutdale to vote for.
So there needs to be, the task force needs to look at what are we going to do if they don't vote in the district. So it would be a contract coming out of the general fund.
No question about it. That's what it would be. All right, and that's what we'll have to do. So,
Zach has a question. Or his
Oh.
hand's raised.
okay, very good.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I just want to point out, I mean, with everything being public, everything being very open, I don't think there's really any concern there. But more importantly, to your point, Councilor White, like if you have a recommendation for, somebody on budget committee or chairing the budget committee to attend, which I don't disagree would be a good idea. I would maybe encourage them to continue working with the public safety working group. That way, if there are some good questions or things that can be provided for the group to take and ask and continue conversing with and maybe find additional angles, or so to speak, then they can bring that information back and we can essentially communicate through the channels that are being provided, but in a public setting and involving parties that would be, I think, interested and very helpful as well. So just my 2 cents, but I think it's a very good idea to continue moving forward in discussing and just making sure that we're kind of have all the pieces on the board to work with there and figure out what we want to do next.
Okay, good. Is there consensus that we participate in this task force? Do we want to make it unanimous? I certainly, there's no reason not to participate in the task force, in my opinion, but anyway.
I think it's just going to force our hand one direction is my concern.
It won't force us at all. It will not. I mean, I can assure you, it will not force us. We are going to make our own decision. Do what's best for Troutdale. That's always what we'll do. So, all right, with that then, without objection, the counselor who will represent the city along with me is Jeffrey One. Is there any objection to that? Okay. Anything else, Mike?
On that.
Well, this is important. This is an important discussion. I mean, we really have to have it. And there's going to be a lot more about it in the coming weeks.
Now we go back to 3.2, right?
Well, I wondered, are you done with the report?
I'm done with the report on public safety. I do have some stuff under staff communication that I'll relay to you at the end.
All right, well, we do have to take up 3.2, as John pointed out, because that was pulled from the consent agenda. And that was the signage along the trail. And what were your issues or questions?
I had trouble reading it, just like the waste management report. I've never seen print this long before, but I couldn't make out what the bottom part of these signs are gonna say, those little logo. I know Metro's there and Troutdale there, but I could not make out what the other two
Good evening, councilors and Mr. Mayor, and I'm very thrown off because there's not a microphone right here anymore. So sorry, let me try to get used to that. Yeah, I was actually myself, Councilor White, just trying to remind myself which various partners that are represented on those logos. And this, it's 8.5 by 11 format, is pretty small, and I did not bring my reading glasses. I need for very small things. So, City of Troutdale. Thank you. 40-mile loop trust, rails for trails, and the intertwine.
Intertwine is gonna be on.
Yes.
And are the signs gonna look like this, or are they
Yes.
that color, black and yellow?
Essentially what you see there, I mean, there might be minor tweaks in the final, production process, but yeah, those are essentially the fruits of the signs.
I kind of like, the recreational brown. I mean, I think people are used to that.
It is, I think it actually is more of a brown, that's how it read to me on
Okay.
the original copies that we got.
Those kind of look like traffic warning.
More of a dark brown. Yeah.
I thought they would clash with the, being along a nature trail. Excuse me, I think Eric's got a question back there. You trying to get our attention? Okay. Anyway, and then Paul's comment about, are they gonna be on that portion that's on the urban renewal? Are any of these signs gonna go up there?
Yes and no. So not these signs. Those are not being provided by Metro. This has been a process that's been going on for a few years to try to get to this point. So at that, it was too far along in the process by the time that project went to construction. But we did include signs based on the same design templates in the construction contract, and in fact, I think they've already been put up. We will have to put in some temporary decals on them because at the time that the contract was awarded, the park had not been named yet. So it had the generic name on them of Sandy Riverfront Trail. So we will have to decal over those. But so when I say yes and no, yes, they will have similar signage, all the same design style, the same sort of template, but we are putting those in ourselves as opposed to Metro providing them.
All right, that's all I have. Alan, you're up.
All right, I'd like to move that we accept consent agenda 3.2, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with Metro for the provision of intertwined signage along Chalk Trail.
Sarah?
Okay. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Andrews.
Yes.
Counselor Allen. Yes. Counselor One.
Yes?
Mayor Whitman.
Yes.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Davidson.
Yes.
All right. On to staff communications. Mike.
I just have a couple little things I just want to put on your radar. Sarah was nice enough to email a number of them out. The TIF dinner, for those that are going, is this Saturday, 4:30 ANA. A note for the general residents in Troutdale, the textile collection event is this Thursday, September 25th. So waste management is collecting textiles so you can put them in with your garbage. There's a bike ride for policymakers. Metro is putting on this Friday at 10:45 down at the overlook in the Sharon Nisbet Park is where they're meeting, and I think they are taking the Chalk Chalk Trail up and around for their bike ride on that fun ride event for Friday. The ethics training in Fairview, I think Sarah was able to send those all out to you, counselors, if you want to join in on that. We're trying to set a time for the ribbon cutting down at the Sharon Nisbet Park. Right now, we're looking at October 29th as a possible date and time to be determined, but we're working on that front right now. And I wanted to give you an update on the confluence. We just signed the exclusive negotiation agreement with the Time Equities crew and sent that back to them last week. We're trying to get a meeting with them to hopefully establish the negotiations for the development agreement as the next phase. And so in that, trying to understand what their needs are and what our needs are, and then work toward a negotiating end to that front. So that's the next phase on the confluence end, and that will be probably transpiring over the next couple of weeks, is what we're anticipating. Just an update on the old City Hall building. They reached out and asked if we might consider giving them a variance or difference on the basement portion. They were going to do the brewery in the basement. They're having a little trouble, so they wanted to convert that to storage, but they still want to do a restaurant and potentially a tap house pub thing upstairs, but just not have the brewery components in the basement. And so we're looking at that. That'll have to be something that I bring back before the council at a later date. And then my final note of the evening is November is shaping up in a really weird fashion where our second Tuesday is Veterans Day, which is a holiday, and our fourth Tuesday falls in the same week as Thanksgiving. And so we jumped into our charter to kind of look at that. It does require us to do one meeting a month with the option of you can reschedule with the mayor and council consent. And so we're thinking that if we just move it to the November 18th Tuesday, which would be the third Tuesday of that month, it would get us out of the 2 holiday weeks. And so with that, it's either something I can present to the council at the October 7th, but I just wanted to have you potentially check your calendars for November 18th, and if that is a suitable date for the council for our November meeting, then we stay out of that Thanksgiving week and we avoid the Veterans Day holiday.
So you'll bring that as an agenda item?
I can bring it as an agenda item if you'd like, Mayor.
It's an agenda, maybe. Is there too much objection? All right, anything else, Mike?
That's all I have.
All right. Council communications, John.
Oh, let me see, I have a list.
Okay.
Let's see, the first one is this Multnomah County Sheriff's vehicle that's parked on Buxton. They park them there for 2 weeks at a time. They don't move. Buxton is not a speeding zone. I want it in some place that's a little bit more conducive to trying to get.
My fault, I have not told Mike that he has to remind the sheriff's office to move that zombie car on a more regular basis, because they forget.
Right. So yeah, it's getting to the point where everybody knows it's a zombie car, so that. The next one that I noticed as I was coming across from like the outlet mall today, is there going to be landscaping between the highway, between the apartments and 257th?
The Hope Forward one?
Right, where they've excavated there.
That's my understanding.
Because
Well, there'll certainly be some sort of ground cover there, or that they're looking for, but anyway, I will back up the plan, that's exactly what they have in mind for it.
Because the other side of the road, 257 to the fence where the food carts are, is a barren wasteland, basically. And so it'd be nice to see landscaping on both sides of 257 there, because you come into town to just see 2 brown areas. It's not real inviting, so I wasn't sure about that. And then,
Councilor Levy,
If I don't ordinarily interject at this point, but that sounds like a really good Boy Scout project. There may be somebody in the Boy Scouts, and I know there are council members who have contacts with them, so perhaps somebody can reach out to an Eagle Scout who wants, or an aspiring scout who wants a good project.
And then thirdly, I went to the ribbon cutting for Mama G's. They took over where Subway was in the outlet mall. The sandwich, stupid sandwich and stuff. Did a ribbon cutting today. They get called in by it. Other than that.
Pardon? Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Zach?
Yeah, something quick. Just speaking of speed zones, I had discussed with Ray in the past and recently Mike and a couple counselors as well. I think it would probably be a good idea to look at whatever steps we need to take to add an additional stop sign downtown on not the intersection immediately around the curve on the Capitol Highway, but the one right by the City Hall offices and the Taste of Village building. I don't have a map in front of me right now, but anyway, I think, I mean, my family almost got hit with somebody blowing through a stop sign there. I know there's been a lot of complaints. I know our community resource officer has, you know, they've done some operations there to slow things down and warn people. But I would like to start a discussion on what that would take and if it's a viable option.
Right?
I think Travis wanted to comment.
Yeah, Travis, do you have a thought?
Just thought I could save some time by addressing Counselor Andrews' comment.
By all means.
Sorry?
I said by all means.
Oh, yeah. I actually just had a conversation with the county about that recently. We're actually taking traffic counts on the side streets right now, which they wanted to see to consider whether to add a stop sign downtown. So we're pulling together the data that they were looking for, and the county will take into consideration.
Beautiful.
Good.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilor Allen?
Sorry I was late. I had parent back to school night tonight, so I had to attend that. I had also wanted to bring concerns just on the side streets into Troutdale. It's kind of dangerous, and this afternoon I had to back up on 3rd, I think it was. 2nd or 3rd, I had to back up to let a car go through because we were just like, there's cars on both sides. There's not a lot of space. It's only one car that you can really get through. And if I wasn't alert enough, I probably would have been hit. And so that's a concern that I have. And today, parking downtown Troutdale, you've got trucks going 35, 40 miles an hour downtown, not even paying attention that I'm standing there at a crosswalk and we're waiting to cross. And so I think the downtown speeding is still an issue. You know, people don't stop at the stop sign down here. I think it's okay for me to just go. So I'm surprised there's not a lot of accidents at the Buxton stop sign, but people are not stopping. And I wish that we would have somebody really watching that and ticketing people that are not stopping. And I mean, I don't like to ticket people, but you know, when it can cost me and my family their lives, I am very concerned. Or any of yours, anybody's, but I'm just saying, personally, it's my family. I don't want them dying at a stop sign that nobody's stopping.
Well, first I want to say thank you to Ray. This is the liaison to the city manager's last meeting ever. And so thank you for everything. Thanks for helping out Mike, you know. And as you go in,
It's a pleasure, thank
as
you.
you finish your last week here in Troutdale, we all appreciate you and everything that you've given to us. So thanks and congratulations on your last meeting. I just wanted to, there's a lot of negativity in the world the last few weeks, and I just wanted to say to this group of people, while I just appreciate everybody's input, thoughts, I appreciate when people speak up, I appreciate when people don't agree with what I have to say or question what we're doing to make sure that we're doing the right things for the right reasons for the right people. And so I just wanted to say to this group of people, like, thank you for first welcoming me into this group. Also, I enjoy our ability to make things happen for Troutdale in the right way, and I just wanted to say that.
All right, well said. I didn't realize it was Ray's last
All right, Dave, you
supporting liaison. There was you two filmed a show about Troutdale on Friday, just last Friday, and in Mayor's Square, and Ray was on it. I was on it. Marley Boxler was on it. Saul was on it. Anyway, it was a great show. It had some of our other businesses from downtown, and it's on YouTube. So I just mention it. It's called ARC space PDX. If you go to YouTube, ARC PDX, it'll come right up, and it was really good. They did a good job. They're doing it in cities all over the Portland area. So, also as president of the Troutdale Historical Society, I wanted to let everyone know that on October 12th, Sunday, October 12th, at the Sam Cox Building, our director, Chris Garza, is going to do a program on flag history. He's quite an expert, or has a hobby of flag history. So that's the program. It's 2:00, October 12th, at the Glen Auto Park at the Sam Cox Building. All are welcome. It's free. And that's all I have. Glenn?
Yeah, Ray, Mike actually said you were very helpful, so I appreciate you staying on, as much as your wife wants you home now. And you actually, I'm sure you're a big help getting him started out, introducing everybody. So I wanted to thank AMR. Summer's coming to a close, and they finished up on Labor Day, and they had another successful year down there, and no drowning. So I really appreciate them doing that job, and all the swiftwater rescue swimmers. And I also, right now the river's at probably the lowest it'll be, and there's been a ton of graffiti added under the bridge pillars, and it just looks terrible down there. If you go down to the river, you'll see it on both sides, on all three pillars. So if there was going to be an effort, the state's in charge of the bridges, so I think we'd have to contact them. In the past, they've come and taken care of it.
They've also given us the right colors to use, and they've let us do it on our own if we want to.
It's kind of tough for that center pillar, and I mean, you gotta worry about polluting the river and all that. So I think, I don't know, if there's something we could do, especially while we're trying to market urban renewal site, because I go, anybody interested is gonna be looking at that whole area. If you go down there, you'll see what I'm talking about.
ODOT that takes care of that, or?
I think it's the state, but Ray would know. I think the state, they do all the bridge work, so I don't know if they would have to do that as well. That's all I had.
Another scout project.
Well, since we are talking about eyesores, I would mention again, the center median up 257th from the food cart. Every time I take it, every day, it's just overgrown. Branches coming in. I know Multnomah County controls that. Maybe since they're redoing everything, they could agree to mow it every once in a while.
Thought.
As I drive by that, I think, you know, if that was my yard, code enforcement would be on top of me. But, yeah.
Thought about going out there with a weed whacker, but that's not better. That's all I have. Thanks, Ray.
Very good. Well, I would entertain a motion.
We adjourn. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed to adjourning? We are adjourned.
Leave the meeting.